Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into a concept called manifestation prophets, based on a source you shared. It's a written script from an audio teaching.
That's right. And our aim here isn't to endorse it, but really just to unpack what this particular teaching says. What is a manifestation prophet according to this source?
Exactly. We're just exploring the ideas presented. So the script kicks off by defining them as, well, individuals God uses to perform actual divine acts right here in the natural world.
Yeah, it uses phrases like vessels of divine demonstration. The idea seems to be they don't just talk about God's power, they're conduits for it. They see, hear, speak, touch, and God moves. That's a direct quote.
Okay, quite active. And where does the teaching ground this, scripture-wise?
It leans heavily on a couple of verses. First up is Amos 3.7. Surely the Lord does nothing unless he reveals it to his servants, the prophets.
Right. So the implication, according to this teaching, is that prophets aren't just told things. They're sort of involved in the doing.
That seems to be the connection they were making, yes. That revelation implies participation, almost. And then it brings in Job 22.28.
Ah, you shall decree a thing and it will be established. How does that fit in?
Well, the script links that directly to the prophet's words having power. Not just prayer, but a specific kind of prophetic declaration that makes things happen, creates tangible results.
So speaking things into being almost.
That's the flavor, yes. And it uses Jeremiah's vision, the almond tree in Jeremiah 1, as an illustration of the seeing part.
The almond tree, symbolizing God being watchful, ready to act. So the prophet's eyes, according to this, see spiritual patterns.
Exactly. Discerning timings, hidden things, heavenly blueprints is the phrase used. It's like seeing the spiritual reality behind the physical.
Okay, so seeing these patterns, then what? How does action follow?
Well, the script connects that seeing to other actions. It talks about the prophet's hands being extensions of heaven.
Extensions of heaven. Meaning?
For things like healing or even judgment, apparently. It cites Elisha parting the waters with his cloak, a physical gesture causing a supernatural, natural effect.
So seeing, touching. What about speaking? Back to that Job verse.
The teaching states, quite boldly, when prophets speak, creation responds. Their voice is seen as carrying divine command.
Like Jesus commanding the storm? Is that the kind of example they use?
Precisely. That's the key example given for the voice, having that inherent authority and power over the natural world.
And the script lists other examples too, right? To kind of bolster this idea.
Yes, it mentions Moses parting the sea, Elijah and the fire from heaven, Elisha's miracles, Jesus' healings, all framed as these divine acts happening through these prophetic figures.
Makes sense within their framework. Then it gets a bit more personal, doesn't it? It asks some questions.
It does. It prompts a kind of self-reflection, like, do you see divine patterns, or do visible shifts follow your obedience? Even, do you move more in acts than sermons?
So presenting these as potential indicators, signs that maybe someone leans towards this type of prophetic expression.
That seemed to be the idea, yeah. And logically, it then suggests ways to cultivate this.
Ah, right. How does the teaching say someone could, develop this?
It lists a few practices. Things like obeying quickly when you sense guidance, actively sharpening spiritual senses hearing, seeing in the spirit, declaring out loud what you perceive spiritually.
So acting on the insight.
Acting on it, speaking it out. And also maintaining personal holiness, keeping the body as a ready vessel, so to speak.
Okay. So wrapping this up then, this teaching presents manifestation prophets as essentially active partners with God in performing tangible divine acts. They see spiritually, speak commandingly, act physically.
And God moves through them in the natural world. It draws on specific readings of verses like Amos 3.7 and Job 22.28, using figures like Moses, Elijah, Elisha, and Jesus as the primary examples.
It's a very distinct perspective on the prophetic role, focusing heavily on demonstrable power and action.
Definitely. And reflecting on this, it really pushes you to consider how divine action might be understood. Does it always come directly, or does this idea of human partnership resonate? What questions does this view raise for you about faith, maybe about authority and the whole nature of the supernatural? Something to think about.